Hi Flosstube, it's Amy, GableStitcher, here with a stitching update video for you. It has been months since my last update video. I think it was June. I'm not really sure. I vaguely remember doing a mid-year status report, so that's what makes me think it was June, but I could be wrong. No idea what number this video is, but I will number it before it goes up so you know. But we're here today, so let's do this. It has been a very busy summer and early autumn. My husband and I have been experiencing what is the sandwich generation to a T. We have a very thick sandwich going on right now, which is fine, but now I finally get what that term means. My husband's father had been living 5.5 to 6 hours away from us by himself in a house since his wife had passed away. And he got quite sick this spring. He realized he could not live by himself. And after a couple of hospital admissions and a good stint in rehab, he was able to move up near us, which is great. But it was a lot moving him up here. We still need to sell his house, so keep your fingers crossed that that sells quickly. But that was, that was very time consuming. We were very happy to have him up here, and we're happy that we're able to make it work for him. So that was the top of the sandwich. And the bottom of the sandwich is I have a high school senior this year. So lots of college touring, college applications, all that fun stuff that happens senior year, like homecoming. We're in our senior year of marching band, senior pictures. That's the bottom. So lots of life stuff, and in the middle there was a little bit of stitching. So let's see it and let's get to it, and I will show you what I have been up to. I have finishes. I have one FFO, which is a fully finished object. I have one start, and I have a bunch of projects I've worked on as well. I also have some stitchy kindness in there. And in honor of the sandwich generation, this is going to be a sandwiched video. Everything's mixed together. So it's going to come as it comes. I typically do my videos very rigid order, but today it's out the window. I'm also going to really try hard not to edit this video, because easy means it'll get up and I'll be more likely to film more videos in the future. Sooner, because I would like to get back to a regular stitching scheduled videos. So I'm not going to edit. I do have some pictures I'll show you on my tablet, but it's gonna be the wild, wild west. So let's go to it. I also have a giveaway in there, so listen, because that's also sandwiched in. Let's start with the finish. So the first finish, I'm not even sure I started it when I did my last video. This is a small finish by Erin Elizabeth Designs. It is called Hello Summer. It was a new release this summer. And I stitched it on a 28 count linen with most of the called for colors. So, which were DMC, I believe. So it's just a scrap I had, and I really like how it came out. The only thing I changed on this is the color of the sail. It was charted a darker blue, so it really blended in with the H and the hello. So I changed it to be a little bit lighter. It was a very enjoyable stitch. I hope to fully finish it by next summer. And I'm hoping it's a series. I haven't checked, but it'd be nice to have one for each season. That was a very enjoyable stitch. My next one I'm going to show you. One of the things that I discovered this summer while I was stitching is that if I worked on a project long enough, I got most of these finishes because I was too lazy to change out my project. If I worked on a project long enough, I was able to finish it. I know it's not like groundbreaking news, but it was nice to see that happen. But some of my projects, most of my projects, if you've watched me for any length of time, you know, are very, very large. I don't have the stamina to stitch on a project for 6 months straight without changing out to finish it. So I need a little bit of a strategy to finish those big projects because I have really been enjoying finishing projects. I am in the process of trying to whip down, and I need a plan. So what I did is I picked two of my larger projects, two of my larger whips, which are works in progress that have been started for 3 or 4 years, and broke them down into 12 pieces to try to finish next year. And because I was so excited to do that, some other people have done that too. Jessie Marie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff does that. People have been doing that and had great success over the last couple of years. So I'm like, let's give it a try. I was so excited. I said, let's start now because that will buy me a little bit of time if I have a month where I can't work on it. So the first project that I did that with is And They Sinned. So I don't think there's any way I can do this without the ring light. So this is And They Sinned. It is a very large project, as you can tell by the person standing next to the framed item. So what I did is I just literally drew lines across it. From where I was, I drew 12 lines. Are they all equal? Nope. Do I think that I might need 2 months for some parts of it? Yes, because of the bottom, which is another reason why I started a little early. So I'm going to show you again. So everything above that top line I had finished going into September. And then in September, I actually did the top 3 parts. Actually 2, because 1 was above that line. So October's piece, if I continue with this, will be this strip here. Stop yakking, Amy. Show us the cross stitch. I even found my little picture of it. So it's a big pile. I told you things have fallen. So let's start at the top. I started this in my January 1st start of 2021. I started with a group of friends. Half have finished, half have not. This is the top. I have quite a bit of cloud fill in at the top. People call it the cloud of doom. And prior to September, I had this done. So I'm going to scroll up and show you everything I did in September. That bottom row of berries I completed in September, and that entire alphabet and border. Not bad. And that bottom vine is going to have berries just like the top. That is part of the October portion. I did the vine. I have not done the berries yet. So my goal in breaking up the 2 projects is to have it be 3, maybe 4 days of stitching. Because I feel like that's doable. I can do, that's a little over a week's worth of stitching. I feel like I can do that and then move on to other things, but have a plan to finish some big projects. So we'll see how it goes. Month 2, and I'm up to date on both projects. I usually fall off around month 4. So come back in January and we'll see where I am. But I'm excited about it, and it's worked for other people. And so far it seemed to work for me because it's not overwhelming. So we'll see where we go with that. Okay, next item is a piece of Stitchy Kindness. This is an old chart. I love this designer, Little by Little. And my stitchy friend, Erin, found it and asked if I would like it. And I said, yes, please, because I love Quakers too. So she sent it to me. So it's not a BAP, it's not a big, awesome project. I am looking forward to starting it. And Erin has a Flosstube channel. She is a wizard with fully finishing items. Like, her creativity amazes me. I'm going to link her below. Her Flosstube channel is called French Knots and Fairy Tales. So if you're looking for somebody to go see Erin. Thank you, Erin, very much for thinking of me and sending that to me. All right, let's do another finish. This, I think I had almost finished in my last video. This is a series of free designs that was released by Nuri of Shaded Stitchery. Met Nuri at Stitch North this year. She is fantastic, and I've gotten to know her better since then. And she released these 4 smalls for Juneteenth this year. These are stitched with the called for DMC, and I plan on making this into a drum. I really need to get on with my fully finishing because it's really been years since I've fully finished anything. So I really like how this came out. It was fun to stitch. The colors are really washing out. It's probably a little bit better. This is stitched on a scrap of Ada. Let's picture this plus. I don't know what color. It's blue, which you can't really tell on screen. And I think it's 16 count. So these are obviously not all the same size. So what I do is I justified the bottom of it to make it into a drum. So and I have plenty of spot at the top. So that was my second finish since I have seen you last. I remember on my mid-year wrap-up, I had 4 finishes for the beginning of the year. I have had 6 finishes since then, which just blows my mind. So once again, it does show that if you just work on something, you will finish it. I started the year with 40 whips. I went up to 41 at one point, and I am down to 35, I believe. So this is the longest I've gone in the year without whipping up. So that makes me happy. There's no whip shaming. You have as many projects as makes you happy. I've just been overwhelmed a lot recently. So that's one of the reasons I've been trying to get my projects down. All right, so the next project that I split up into 12 is Savior's Praise by Kitten Stitcher, who is Shakespeare's peddler. I don't know if you can see or not, but I just took out a marker and started drawing on this one to break it up into 12 pieces. I started this project in 2020 with another group of stitchers. I think every single one of them has finished it except for me. And I had done very little, basically nothing prior to this year. I think I stitched on it twice. Like, it's going into 2024, I think all I had done was this urn and like a little bit here. I stitched on it a little bit at the beginning of the year. Didn't love it, but didn't hate it. And I said, let's see if we can split this up into 12 manageable pieces to finish, because otherwise this is going to be a whip forever. So I did that in September. Like I said, I had worked on it a little bit at the beginning of the year. I completed my September portion, and I am just like at a couple of hours shy of completing my October portion. So here we go. My margins are super tight on this. This is a big piece. This is a 46 count piece of fabric, and it barely fits side to side. As I said, I started this in 2020, so I used what I had, which is fine. But it's why I buy some fat halves of fabric now too, not just quarters. So all I have left for my October portion is the rest of this alphabet and the bottom border. And I really like how this is coming out. I am enjoying stitching on it now, which is fantastic, because at the beginning of the year, I hated it. So, and I'm loving how it's looking. This is a 46 count linen by Victoria Motto. I was in our fabric and floss club years ago, and it's stitched with the called for flosses, which is mostly anchor, and there are a couple of fancy flosses. I may have subbed out a few of them, but it's mostly called for. All right, let's do another Stitchy Kindness. Stitch is the kindest people, I'm just saying, very kind. I want to give away on a channel from Stitch and Button. I will link her below too. Vicki makes bags, project bags, as well as has a Flosstube channel. And she gave away a Good Housewife chart, which I love. She was not going to stitch it, so she graciously passed it on. It's called The Tree of Life. And I won that from her. It is not huge. I love it. I'm actually thinking about stitching it soon. It's just very pretty. And I will link Vicki, Stitch and Button, below as well. Like I said, she has a Flosstube channel, so go give her a watch. Thank you, Vicki. All right, another finish. Let's do a finish. I told you there was a lot of finishes. This other finish was almost done as well in my last video. This is Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, the Nutcracker Parade. I am really, really happy with how this came out. This is 18 count, picture this plus Ada. I think it's the color Jade, and it's stitched with the called for DMC, and I used one strand. So an 18 count dyed Ada, you can really use one strand and get fantastic coverage, as you can see. I'll pull it up closer. And that was a really fun stitch. I think I'm going to have this I'm going to finish this into a flat fold for Christmas. So I think it would make a great flat fold. I have no idea how to make a flat fold, so that information will be incoming. Like I said, that was a lot of fun to stitch. Plenty of color changes, a few too many in some spots for me, but overall a really enjoyable stitch. And as you can tell by my fabric choices so far, I don't think I mentioned And They Send was on 40 count vintage country mocha linen, but I stitch on everything. 28 count, Ada, 40 count, 46 count, you name it, I'll stitch on it pretty much. As long as I like the way the fabric feels, it's fair game. If I don't like the way the fabric feels, I likely won't stitch on it. But whether it's Ada or linen or even weave, fair game. I am an equal opportunity fabric lover. All right, next item. This is a round robin, excuse me, Flosstube Itchy Nose. Round robin I am participating in, and I really need to mail this out. So this goes to Sarah Memphis E next, who also has a Flosstube. This is an Ink Circles round robin, and this is Lace Flowers. I'm doing this with 3 other people. This is my friend Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado Worlds chart. So she sent it to me. She had done 1/4. I did 1/4. And then I am mailing it off to Sarah, who will do another 1/4, and then she mails it off to somebody else for the final 1/4. And I don't remember which 1/4 I did. But here it is. I think I did the bottom 1/4. Really pretty. Julie kitted this up with a number of silks. She just chose out of her stash, and I think it's either a 28 count or a 32 count linen. So these round robins are great because you do 1/4, you pass on someone else, so you don't need to do the whole thing. And when it comes back to you, you have a whole piece done. So I am halfway done with this round robin. I'll mail it off, and I don't have another part, so I'll be waiting for the next part to come to me. Let's do another whip. Round robin, is that a whip? I didn't count it as a start, so probably not really a whip. A peacock, a unicorn, and a badger by the Scarlet Letter. I love this project. This project for me is pure comfort stitching. It is a full coverage design, but it's not full coverage confetti heavy like a Heaven and Earth design or Tilton Crafts, any of those really detailed full coverage designs you see. This is more like a coloring book. You outline and then you color. It's fantastic. I am stitching this on a 40 count even weave. Well, even weave / linen. It's called Mallow by Zweigart. It's definitely some type of synthetic blend. I really like it for this. It's not my favorite fabric overall, but I do like it for this. And I'm stitching it with the DMC conversion that's given. And here we are. So what I've been tending to do with this is I outline, I start coloring in, and all the green you see, I fill in while I'm at retreats or on Zooms. And I just love this. I finished the peacock, filled him in. I was going to leave him to last, but I'm like, nope, I want to fill him in. I don't like leaving things undone. I like going from the top down, left to right. And then I outlined everything that you see below that white flower. The unicorn starting to come in, and you go up, and I see that branch I did with those 2 flowers coming off of it. And I started coloring those in. Really, really enjoyable. Every time I pick this up, I have a very hard time putting it down. It is a large piece. Like, this is the fabric, which is pretty much cut to size. This will not be done this year, will not be done next year. We'll see where it is after that, but that's fine. Like I said, I really enjoy stitching on this project. And I'm kind of on the hunt for more designs like that, where it's almost like coloring book for cross stitch. Very relaxing, but that one's going to keep me going for a few more years. All right, let's do another finish. I don't have the cover pages for any of my finishes because I've either given the charts away or they're sitting in my pile to go to the post office to mail off, like this one. But it's fine, you don't need the cover pages because we have the finished project. This one right here is Spring Moon. And this is by Plum Street Samplers. Plum Street Samplers, not sure if I said that loud enough. I love this design. I stitched this with all the called for floss. I'm going to hold it back because it's really blowing out up there. It's a little bit better. I stitched this on 40 count Winter Wishes by Fabrics by Stephanie. And this was just a joy to stitch. I love the colors. I love the design. I have discovered between this and Peacock, I really love that dense fill-in stitching. Like, it is just, it makes me happy. It makes me happy. The only thing I changed on this is the tulips on the grass were charted in a lighter green, and I didn't feel like I could see them. So I stitched them in blue as well. And at the top, you can see there's the moon and the stars. It's hard to see because it's being washed out so much on this video, but in person, you really can see it more. And I love that bunny. So, love it. Really, really enjoyed stitching this. And this is a series, and I do plan on doing the rest of them in the series. All right. What are we up to next? Let's do it on the whip. This is a project that I hope to have done in the next couple of weeks. It's been hanging out for a long time. Mirabilia Touch in the Autumn Sky. Love this design. A very good friend of mine lent me this chart. It's going to somebody next. I'm seeing that person in November. So I really would like to finish it by then so I can give her the chart. This I am stitching with, I just poked myself, with all the called for floss and beads. Does not call for a ton of beads, but there are some beads in here. And I'm stitching it on a 32 count Wexford linen, which is a linen, but it's a very even blend, even linen. It's kind of like a cross between a linen and even weave. Just like that mallow linen that Peacock is on. And she is close to done. I started beading, and this is where we are. She does not have a head yet. Yes, I know, no head. I was in the mood to bead, so I went with it. You can see on the bottom, there's a bunch of beads. I finished the confetti in the bottom of the skirt, and I was like, you know what? Let's do some beading. So I did. There aren't a ton of beads, but what's left is scattered all around. And then I have her head. Hold it back so you can see the colors better. She is very pretty. It's a gorgeous piece of linen. It looks just like an autumn sky. And she should be done hopefully by the next time I see you in November. She is one that I was having a hard time working on as well. I wanted it done, but didn't really want to stitch on it. And I tell myself, Amy, it's not going to stitch itself. But I made a goal to do like 500 stitches a week for a little bit, and that really helped push me over the edge. Because 500 stitches was not overwhelming. I could do it, cross it off the list, move on to something else, but it was enough to move on the design where I felt like it wasn't too overwhelming to work on and finish. All right, next, let's do the FFO. I have one FFO. So my friend, Helen D, you may know her. She has a Flosstube channel as well. I'll link her below. Although, like, if you know who I am, I'm sure you watch Helen D, because we all know and love Helen D. She was stitching a Biscornu. It was large. And she told me about a year ago, I think I'm just going to UFO it because I don't want to stitch it anymore. I said, Helen, give it to me and I'll stitch it for you because I can stitch big things. Does not bother me. She's like, okay. So she gave me the Biscornu and her floss, and she's like, you finish it, send it to me, and I'll fully finish it. Well, Helen D is the queen of finishing, one of the queens of finishing. She has a ton of finishing tutorials. She finishes all her stuff, all of her sister's stuff. I figured it'd be nice to give Helen D something that was fully finished that she didn't need to finish herself. So I finished Helen D's Biscornu for her. So this is, I think it's called the Be Mine Biscornu from Heartstring Samplery. And it's very big. And I stitched the bottom and what was left at the top, and I fully finished it for her into a Biscornu. So I hope she likes it. Like, it's not Helen D level of finishing, I'm sure, but I figured it'd be really nice to give Helen something that was fully finished because she has given all of us so many tools to fully finish our own items. And she fully finishes all of hers. So I'm going to be seeing Helen tomorrow, meeting her for lunch with a few other people. That's why I'm not dropping this video until after I see her. So that's it, fully finished Biscornu. And Biscornus are very fun to stitch, and it's not a difficult finish if you're looking for an entry level for fully finishing. So there we go. So that's why this video won't be dropping, because I said I'm not editing. After I see Helen, I'll drop the video because I want to be able to give that to her and not have her see it beforehand. All right, let's move on to a new start. I have only started 6 things this year. 6 sounds like a lot, I guess, but compared to my usual number of starts, it's not bad. I started this last 2 weeks ago. This is one of the animal crackers by Stacy Nash Designs. This is Maggie May. I love her. Like, she's so cute. There were a bunch of new ones that dropped with the fall market, and I really wanted to buy one of them. And I was like, Amy, you have Maggie May, stitch Maggie May. Yes, let's stitch Maggie May first. Of course, I did still buy one, but we're going to stitch Maggie May first. I have a combination of called for floss and some color and cotton floss for my stash. I'm changing the colors a little bit. Maggie is charted in a really dark brown, and I'm not a fan of the yellow sweater. So I stitched Maggie in gray. And I am giving Maggie a like purple heather type of sweater and a light teal dress. And I am really liking how she is coming out. It's stitched on a 36 count Atomic Ranch fabric. I don't have the tag on it still, so I'm not sure what it was. I was in a fabric of the month last year, so it's a piece from that. And there we go. She's so fun to stitch. Really stitching up fast. I mean, that's a good portion of her. I hope to finish her soon. I am stitching her body with color and cotton slate. I will go through which colors I changed here. I'm stitching her sweater in color and cotton fig, which is like a fantastic color. I actually went to the color and cotton website to see if I could buy more, but it must have been a special edition because I can't. But look at that color. So those are my big changes. And then I'm stitching her dress in color and cotton Old Penny. So it's like a heathery blue. So that is Maggie May. I love the animal crackers. I want to stitch a bunch of them, so I can fit a bunch on that piece of fabric. So we'll see how many I get to do. I am appreciating the small projects now as I'm trying to finish all of these BAPs, big awesome projects I started over the last year or two. All right, let's do another finish. Told you I had a ton of finishes. This is Halloween Ride. This is by Yasmin Made with Love. Yeah, Yasmin Made with Love. Do not have the chart anymore because I have passed it on. And I love this. This is on a 32 count linen with all flosses that I substituted in, mostly color and cotton. And the linen is from Barefoot. It's like beach days or sandy days or something. And the colors are more true back there. But I just love how saturated it is. Look at that pumpkin. Like, fantastic. And that owl is just so dapper. He's awesome. This is another one I really would like to finish into a flat fold. I think I need a plan next year to finish, like fully finish things. My friend Ellen and I were talking about like renting a spot to do a finishing day, or just getting together and finishing. Because I need some motivation to fully finish things. So yeah, because let me tell you, the under the bed box is ridiculous. The pile of things that I have not finished dates back to the 1980s. Like, no lie. I mean, for me, a lot of the joy is in stitching, but I do need to finish some of these. Let's be real. Okay, 2 more whips, 1 more finish. So I did kind of time that out well. All right, so let's do this whip first. Let me show you a picture. This one's on my tablet. I appreciate your patience for me not going with the, not editing here. All right, so this project is from Shaded Stitchery, once again, my friend Nuri. This is called Taking Up Space. I'll show you the picture of what it will look like when it's finished. This was one of her releases from this year, Juneteenth releases. And my Stitch North table, a group of us started this on Juneteenth. And I am stitching it with all the called for, except for, it called for 1 Roxy floss, which I didn't have. So I asked Nuri, what should I substitute in? And she said 3371. So I listened and I substituted in that, but I used an étoile. This is on a 32 count latte by Fiber on a Whim. And this is where I am. This is such an enjoyable stitch. It's one of those stitches that is just very meditative as you stitch it. There's some nice blocks of color, the spots where you need to count. And it just, it's coming together very nicely. So I put it into Pattern Keeper today. Like, why I did not do that before, I don't know. I was stitching from the PDF of my computer, which is a lot harder than stitching from Pattern Keeper. But I put it into Pattern Keeper this morning, and I am just over 50% done. Like 52.9. So I think this is something I can finish this year. That's something I've started thinking about. Like, what can I take off my plate and finish this year before I go into 2025? And this one is on the list. This and Touching the Autumn Sky are the 2 from this pile. I know some people have started talking about 3 months to the finish line, picking projects they want to finish in the next 3 months. I tend to do that every year around this time. Just like I said, just look at what I have that maybe I can finish off. I like the fact that people are giving it a name, and people like are really excited about what they can finish this year. I need to go through, actually, if I make a video in the next 2 weeks, I'll pull out what I think I'm going to finish, what I want to try to finish before the end of the year. But Taking Up Space and Touching the Autumn Sky are 2. I have like 3 more, but that's for another video. Speaking of taking up space, giveaway time and Stitchy Kindness. So Nuri asked if I would like a design from her autumn market releases, and to pick one, and she would send me 2 charts, one for me and one to give away. So this is the first time she's done printed charts. She's done PDFs up to now, but she does have printed charts. I will link her website below. And I requested this one right here, Tree Medley. So very, very cute. All different types of trees decorated for the holiday season. So perfect Christmas decoration. And I love this because you can do them individually or you can do them together. So, and she sent me two. So one for me and one to give away. So use the word tree in a comment if you're interested and would like to be entered to win this. TREE. And I will use a random, picker to pick a winner. I will mail anywhere. If the USPS, United States Postal Service, delivers to you, feel free to enter. I'll mail it. Standard floss tube rules apply. Don't say giveaway because I want it to go to a stitcher. You need to be above 18 and you need to be able to give me your address. So, tree. So thank you, Nuri. And check out her designs. Like I said, I will link her below. One whip, one finish, and one UFO. What should we do first? Let's do the UFO. I was looking through my projects and trying to figure out what to break up into 12 pieces. And when I saw this piece, I was like, you know what? Let's UFO it. I barely started it. I want to stitch it at one point. It's not on my radar for now. So this is a modern folk embroidery design. It's in black and white because my printer is very cantankerous and old. It's the Red Deer sampler, LFB 1788. Gorgeous sampler. I want to stitch it at some point. I had maybe 100 stitches into it and hadn't touched it since 2021. So it's no longer on my whips, which is fine. It's all good. So that will be a start sometime in the future, but as of now, that is off of my list and I'm very happy about that. And I reclaimed the fabric. So there we go. Last whip, and then we'll finish with my biggest finish. My last whip is Halloween Quaker by Leela Studio. Kind of a little bit shiny, but I mean, if you've watched Flosstubers, you know this whip because this project, so many people have done it. This is a problem child for me. I have a very difficult time with this fabric. It's a 40 count Murky. It is very tight and there's large color variations on this piece. I made a huge mistake in it and I didn't pull it when I saw it, thinking I could work around it. And the more I work on it, the realer I realize I cannot work around it. So I'm going to need to frog it a lot in the future. I picked it up because I'm like, if I don't work on it, we're just going to UFO it. I picked it up. I didn't hate it. We're going to continue with it because I really like the end result. So this is where I am. As you can see, I ironed most of my finishes. I did not iron this. As you can see the hoop mark. So I've been putting in, when I think of it, not as often as I should, a strand a day. And like I said, I'm not editing, so I have done all of this since you've last seen it. So that's a good amount. This is not going to go away. I'm going to keep this out and really try to put in strands here and there to get it done. Because I think if I put it away for any length of time, it's just never going to get finished. So, I mean, it does look really good. I love the finished result. I just don't love stitching on it. And where's the big mistake, Amy? Let me tell you. Because I thought I could work around it, and the more and more I stitch on it, I don't think I can. So, you see where the witch is centered? The witch is center on my fabric because I started her first. The problem is then I stitch the bats and I base the next motif off the bats. The bats are in the wrong place. So the witch essentially is in the wrong place. See this big gap here? It should be much smaller. So I think I'm going to need to pull out this and move her where she's supposed to be. I thought about working around it because it's such a symmetrical design, I don't think I can. It's going to throw everything else off. So what I'm doing is I'm working down and around, and then I'll make a decision if I need to rip her out or not. But that's where we are with this. So looks great. I don't love stitching on it, but I don't hate stitching on it, but I love the finished project. So we're going to continue with this for now. Yes, and I will never stitch on 40 count Murky again. Last finish. My last one's a big one. I probably should have saved it until the 46-minute mark, because most people are probably like, this has been a hot mess express, Amy. We pieced out. But for those of you who are still here, my last finish is the Beatrix Potter sampler. And she is gorgeous. Really, really gorgeous. So I'll bring it in a little bit closer so you can see the motifs up close. I started this as my New Year, New Start for 2023, but I actually started at the last week of 2022. It's stitched on ballet slippers by Fox and Rabbit. It definitely has a peachy tone to it, pinky peach. It's 40 count linen, and it's stitched with a needlepoint silk. Usually on a sampler, I change the initials to family initials, but this one I did stitch the original initials. Beatrix Potter holds a special place in my heart. This is a sampler that she owned, so I wanted to keep it to the original. I have the needle print version of this sampler. However, Stitchy Box does own the rights to it now, and they sell it in a PDF. So, and she's a lot bigger than I thought she was, but she was a joy to stitch, and I would like to frame her sooner rather than later. So, takeaways from this video is I'm realizing as I am talking, I need a plan to FFO things, because I do have things I want to FFO, and they're not FFOing themselves. And I need to film more frequently, so it's not like I'm doing it for the first time every time I do it. But that being said, thank you so much for continuing to watch and come back from my long absences. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you so much for watching. I will put the links of the people that I mentioned in the description box below. Have a wonderful rest of October. Oh, I did not mention with the giveaway, so I'd mention the word tree. If there is another video after this one, then it's over. Like, I will draw right before I do my next video. So use the word tree. I will mail anywhere. And thank you, Nuri from Shaded Stitchery, for providing this. And I hope to see you sooner rather than later. And happy stitching, everyone. And thank you very much for stopping by to visit with me. Bye.